Well,
5:30.
TikTok. Mike's on.
Everyone was chit-chatting before that, now suddenly everyone's working all the time, so.
Okay.
So into
5:30 working session order.
Okay. Let's go outside. And we're gonna go out the North Commons door. And we're gonna just meander around to the playground and then on the south side of the building and then over to the track. And I don't think we need to go 2.5 hours. We'll try to keep it within an hour or so and
just keep walking.
okay.
Yeah, we get to turn it back on.
Oh, yeah. Jeff's got it.
We're back.
And I think the last one, there's 2 hours of an empty room online, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Anything else?
Well, is there any discussion that we want to bring up now as far as next steps, or we're scheduled to meet on Wednesday?
Wednesday.
What was the agenda for next week?
I don't have an agenda yet.
Oh,
But the thought is open meeting with public if they want to come, and we discuss specifically what we've seen and try to prioritize that a little bit.
Well, I think we decide, let's just focus on the facility for the immediate future, but, you know, are we ready to run this November, or is this something that we want to spend more time developing? I guess it's, what is the urgency for repairing the facilities, and are we better off to,
Just off the windows alone, I'd say we need to do this sooner rather than later, because if we don't do it now, we're realistically
start
kicking it two
preparing
wheels down the
Yep.
road, 2 years down the road. Unless you want to spend the money for your own special election.
so that would be the first step, is
Yeah.
committing to doing it in
I haven't heard
November.
anybody else on the board
Yep.
hesitate on that. Anybody got a,
I'm a little hesitant.
about
just
stepping forward?
just the PR factor. Like, we only have now to November to get it all together and present it to the community.
And
I mean, that's not a lot of time.
I'm all in. I think we have to do it. There's a lot to be done to be successful. So we can spend all this money, but if we're gonna, then we have to work hard, I think. You know, and that's my, to pass it.
Well, and I have a question. What if we did just the bond this year and then waited to do the other two? I mean, what's your thought?
Vice versa.
Or, yeah, well, if we're gonna do, if the windows are emergent,
Well, I guess, how long do we want to have a spending freeze on technology and things
Right.
like that? I mean, that's,
you know,
you know, right now, when you look at the budget, and I don't have it in front of me,
yeah.
building back our unassigned fund balance with declining enrollment, I mean, we've put some pretty stiff cuts in.
Well, I mean, I guess.
And we're gonna be
that's
living
why
with
I'm
those
saying-
next year.
That's why
So
I'm
just
asking
yep.
that, you know.
So, I
I
guess.
think that's the other component is, this is not money immediately, this is money a year down the road.
Exactly.
So I'm willing to try and fail, and how's that for a bad attitude? But that's my thought on that. You know, we gotta see where we've gone wrong, because I think historically, these things have a tough time passing initially. You know, we have to be ready for the fact that the public's gonna need to be really convinced over a long term. I think Warroad had that, Roseau had that, or no, not Roseau, Greenbush
Or just informed, I think convinced is the wrong word, informed.
Okay, well, if you're informed, I think you're convinced, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a necessity.
It's the
Maybe.
implication
One
that
way or
convincing.
another.
So maybe for Wednesday, I think we need to get a steering committee, a community committee going right away, like, because they need to see this stuff too. If we're gonna go after funding, they're gonna have to see the building problem, so
Yep.
they can help sell it. And
So the reason we're pressed for time is the June deadline for review and comment to MDE. So by the end of May, we have to have an idea of the facilities, what projects we feel we need to fund. But even if we do the review and comment, we're not held to running an actual election. It just opens the door to allow us to run it in November. So even once we move beyond that, there'll still be time to start your steering committee, do the PR, try to get people to come in and take a look at what we've been walking through and looking at. So
that were for August.
yeah, it comes fast. It'll be a whirlwind. Yeah.
Is that enough time to do it? That's my main concern.
And like bringing in the Donovan group would be helpful.
Well,
Hopefully.
Well, what do you need, if we know what we need the money for and everything, I guess what do we need so much time for? I mean, 3 to 4 months
We know,
should be,
but we have a community to inform.
but, okay, so we write the newspaper articles and however, whatever method. If we can't get people to come in and look, I mean, I guess
Well, then we got.
if we're doing the newspaper articles and stuff, and what else, the visiting and stuff like that.
So
I think it's gonna take
Well, and then like
face-to-face.
bringing community members in so that they can go out. Is what
Well,
the
and the
steering
bottom
committee would
line
do.
is we offer community members opportunity to come in, and they didn't. So
Yeah.
that means we need to go to them.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And I mean, I think that's what
Yep.
Corinne is worried about, is
Yeah.
that they're not coming in, so we need to go to them.
Yeah, otherwise it's
So-
gonna
Yeah.
fail.
if you look at the attachment to the PR piece of it, if you haven't had a chance to look at that, they laid it out monthly, kind of what, and it's like weekly meetings with them. I mean, so
Pretty intense.
it's intense. And a lot of that they'll guide us through, especially the important pieces as far as getting engagement with the public and giving them the information that they need to make a decision when they vote in November.
What was the price of it? I don't.
It was like
It's $2,000 a month, it'd be about $14,000.
Yeah.
And I did talk to Brent at Widseth, and he's not gonna feel bad. Their approach, it would be much different than what Joe Donovan would be. It's basically pushing the facilities, and that's the PR that they would.
But not necessarily communication.
But no, not at the level, not the weekly meetings, not, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but if you read through that, there's stuff going out almost every week in some form or fashion. Now, that's to get their support. Now, if you do mailings, I think that's on us, the postage and so those costs would be added on top of it. But as far as having assistance with coordinating it and putting things together, that's what they can provide. And I feel with the budget cuts and the staff cuts that we've already done, to ask more of the staff is going to be much more stressful than. So we have
If
people
memory
taking on
serves,
more
there's
duties.
roughly 1,200 households. I don't know if that includes second homes or whatever, households in Lake of the Woods County. So that's what you have to, that's a number you can work with right there.
What was the number?
Roughly 1,200.
1,200?
Split 6 8.
There you go. How many phone calls is
Yeah,
that?
how many phone calls is that?
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's my point. Again, I don't know if it necessarily, but I mean, that's,
Do that?
you're almost approaching where you can almost directly contact everybody if you want to.
So when you say steering committee,
And
I'd
I-
also like to encounter a member of the public who comes in and is 100% behind us, saying, hey, you guys are right, you know, this needs to happen. And I think there are people out there like that, but that's the people you want to contact, because they're a better conduit than anybody, you know, than we are even. We're selling things. They don't have to sell it, they're just pointing out the need.
Well, let's ponder it until Wednesday.
Well, we're still on for Wednesday, and is it?
It's
still
5
same time?
o'clock, 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
5 o'clock, okay.
Um,
Oh, that's right, you got it way out.
If
I'll be
there's
here.
questions or things that you want me to dig up and try to pull together by then, just send me an email or give me a call.
Is it an official meeting where we are going to meet? Or is this
No, it's a
just-
working session.
Just a work session, yeah. Okay.
Yep, so no final decision until the May 20th.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to direct me to come up with some kind of proposal for moving forward for you to vote on.
All right, we gotta have this discussion again, whether or not you revisit it, Corinne, but I think that if people are gonna watch, again, I think we have that, because I didn't think that there was a reticence about moving forward, so it's good that we're all talking openly, because we're not on the same page in this, you know, necessarily, and, you know, you've got valid thoughts on that, so.
Well, like I said,
It's gonna
I'm
take
in.
more
It's
footwork.
just, yeah, I just wanna make sure we do it right.
So you wanna ponder the Joe Donovan group or
Till Wednesday?
till Wednesday?
And then we're
Okay.
gonna go over prioritizing building stuff on Wednesday?
Okay,
We can prioritize, I think realistically, there are 1 or 2 projects in there that maybe we can afford in the next 2 to 3 years, even if we get this thing passed, so I don't see that as a horrible decision.
Dale, do we have all the critical infrastructure stuff? Is it all down, written down with rough numbers? Or I'll look at Jeff too.
Yeah, so
I mean, we know there's windows, we know there's brickwork that needs to be addressed. Any other of the, yeah, we gotta fix it, otherwise it's gonna get really expensive down the line.
You want us to file a list?
Yeah, if we don't already have it, that would be
I think they
fantastic.
had a quote.
other than what they have in the assessment?
Yeah, other than what's in there.
And the windows came with like 2 different quotes, do it all at once, spread it over
Yeah.
time, you know, came with different price tags.
Yep.
I'm not sure what Seth did with all that, hopefully Jeff got it.
He's giving you the Scooby-Doo. And so, yeah, if you guys could see if you could track it down or,
Because I do have a quote, I'll call, coming in for the walk-in service. I did get I requested an updated quote to do
Okay.
the fix, like what we did by the pool doors.
yeah,
So I have.
yeah, like stuff like that.
So
mean,
I have an
that's-
update on that. The traffic flow, I'm not sure what other options we would do with the traffic flow piece of it, as far as
And we
either
can,
leave it
well,
as is, or,
and the Buildings and Ground Committee can help too with, I mean, there's gonna be some, I mean, obviously the critical ones that have to happen are windows, concrete, brick. I'm sure there's a couple of other ones. The roof, if that's coming up. You get into the driveways and some of that stuff, it's like, okay, it would be nice, but I guess I wouldn't put into the critical infrastructure that we're gonna have to pay for, whether we get this bond or not. I mean,
The roofing company called me last week, and I told them I'd like to sit down and talk with them about what it's gonna cost to get the roof recoated and buy another warranty to get us another 15 years down the road. I think is our next warranty program for us. You know, so, and that's gonna happen sometime this summer, fall.
Okay.
But it's kind of on the radar to start getting some of those numbers together to see what it's going to cost to keep this stuff going, whether you know, like it or not.
So that number's not in here?
I don't think the roof is in there, or if he does, it's.
It's in that other, but there was a different.
it's on page 10.
company that they
He
referenced.
didn't see it as a terrible situation to run.
No, we're doing phenomenal shape, but if we let it go too long, we're gonna be in horrible shape.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, how do you have to know when you
Well,
get
and
money.
the other thing that is a real concern to me is, we're doing a bond, and we're probably looking at 10 years before we would do another bond election, bond referendum.
Possibly, yeah.
What can last 10 years? When you look at it like that, it's really scary. The other thing I thought of was, we're putting these things on the list and we're asking for 7 million, say if we ask for the full amount. And I'm not saying we are, I'm just saying, so can you trade out things and say, well, we got, we figured out a less expensive way to do the roof, so can we do this with it? Or are you
Stuck to
locked
what you
in
used to.
to what you said that you were gonna do when you talked about the referendum?
I will double check, but my guess would be is once you've kind of stated these are the projects,
But,
and the voters vote on those projects, I
Yeah.
don't think you get a lot of leeway on, okay, we're not gonna do the roof, we're gonna do.
But I don't think there's,
You're
if
just saying
the
there's
dollar,
additional
like, as
money.
long as the project's done, it doesn't have to be done at
If
the
you can find a way to
cost
do it
that-
cheaper, yeah,
Right.
I mean, then you
And
have,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying,
Make
but
your
I
money
see what
go
you're saying.
farther.
if
Yeah.
you can make that money go farther, and can you add another project? That's,
That I don't know.
That, I was wondering that same thing,
Yeah.
because I think.
Do you guys have buses in that, thing? Cause. it's
That would
been
be
a-
in the capital projects levy,
Okay.
that's a different piece of it.
We should probably discuss those as well on Wednesday.
I think we need to,
Mhm.
discuss the other questions as well on Wednesday.
Yep.
Bring a bigger coffee.
Yeah. Two Diet Cokes.
Yeah. And did you have stuff together for both of the questions or just the capital?
I will do my best to have information on all three of them.
With the windows, what are we telling them to price out? Or are they just giving us a very vague, knowing the square footage of the windows type thing, roughly how much it's gonna be?
Seth told me those numbers and they came in about 3 times as high as what I thought they would be.
Okay.
None of them are standard size, so it's all custom pelts, which just drives the cost up.
Well, I'm wondering if, and I somewhat alluded to it when we were doing the building tour, do we need 3 operable windows, or can we go with 2 fully fixed ones with 1 operable window, no operable windows? And if that's the case, can you go 4 panes? Can you go 2 panes? I mean, can you do something else that will lessen the cost?
And that's some of the stuff, like, I think, where we need to get to, if we get it passed, then we need to really dig into, or even now, really dig into how to minimize costs.
Yeah.
So you can make your money go farther. I don't know, if we have time to answer all those
Would
questions.
that be a state requirement? For operable?
Well, I don't know, that's what, I pose that question to Dale too.
Because the windows is considered egress.
Yep.
And if you look at all ours, the only way you're gonna egress out of them is throw a chair through them.
So,
Okay.
I did ask Carl about that, and he said he talked with the state fire marshal or something about your egress requirements.
Because I know every spring we usually get the phone call, you have a snow cap, blowed out around the building, so if you ever had to egress, they don't have to walk through the snow. And that comes from the fire marshal, so maybe he would have more
That's
Yeah.
idea
Yeah,
of
I think
I
that's
feel
who
like
we
the
need
new
to
how
guy
much
is
egress do
very.
we have. What do they
knows
consider
the book.
egress?
throw it at you.
That's also kind of why I wondered if the quotes we're getting are like total ballpark or something, or if we specified now to what we were looking for, if it would make it a lower cost.
Yeah. I
And
think
then-
there's things we could look into a little bit more there.
Well, I believe.
But they were not gonna go in November, if we're gonna look at windows and get very specific with
Very detailed.
with
But if we-
specs and come
Right.
up with such a hard number, that's gonna take more than what we can do by Wednesday.
Well,
Yes.
that's why, I mean,
You know, I
that's
think-
why, again, why I asked how they're coming up with their estimates. Are they estimating replacing it? Are there things that we could simply say that we're open to changing some of the things around, which may end up changing
Yeah.
their estimate?
And then that goes to the cost savings, and then
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can shift that money elsewhere.
that would be a
Because
good
Yeah.
question for Brent. I think
we- Yeah.
Yeah.
part of what you're talking about is when you start doing, writing your bids and
Well,
going out for
and
bids.
if I remember right, I think I asked the question that all of these estimates had contingencies factored into them.
Yeah, I remember you asked that.
And I can't remember what percentage was.
Yeah,
I wanna say 10%.
But I think that we paid 15 grand for this,
Yep.
right? And they're coming up with those numbers,
Should be enough.
$980,000. I think that they're telling us it's gonna cost you that in the marketplace right now. You know, if you can save some
Yeah.
money, great, if it's gonna
That's
be
true.
over.
Yeah.
And then you go into the brickwork at 133. I think we have to kind of trust, at least in terms of
Yep.
the sales pitch to the public, these are the numbers that we're
If we
looking
can
at
find
right
some
now.
savings, that's good. I want to make sure that we have enough.
yep,
Yeah.
yes,
That's
Yep.
my concern. I'm not as worried about if we have too much money. I'm worried about if we have enough money to cover it.
Right,
Because
and you
you're
can see the
looking at
list
2
we
years
just went
down the
through,
road.
2 days of walk around, we're not gonna have money left over.
But you know what I'm saying is that it's, there's a price for 908. So, I mean, my experience with this school has been, we thought it was gonna be 200,000 for the pool and it was 300,000.
Yeah.
That's the kinds of things that I'm concerned about.
realistically, every project ever, I think, take whatever anybody estimates and add 20, 50 to, well, forget 10%, add more like 30 to 50%.
And that's where lots of things, we've opened things up and found a can of worms.
Right, and I
There's a story you
And I
touched.
understand that, you have to fix it, but, I think, I'm hoping that these prices are better than that. And, I mean, I think that I would be remiss if I didn't say that that's a concern.
I think that's something on all of our minds for sure.
I think everyone's on the board is thinking of that. We've all done things in our house or, I mean, it isn't always like you think. I used to tell them at the hospital, you have a house and then you have this building and it's 100 times what your house is. So think about what the cost would be to maintain that. The square footage, it's like. Because it's huge. I don't know how many square feet the school is, but it's a lot.
I'd have to look it up, but it is a lot.
Yeah.
Quarter million. With the full edition, I think it's upwards 200 and some thousand. You got 40 grand, 160 right there, plus, oh yeah, you got a couple 100,000 square feet.
So by Wednesday, I'll try to pull some information on the capital projects levy, operating levy, and then we have their information on the bond projects.
And maybe ask him what contingency he factored in.
Okay.
So we're not guessing.
I could kind of picture once you get the bond, then it's like, okay, you get to answer the constituents if you don't follow whatever you told them to do, but.
Can't go out and ask for that again.
Yeah.
So we'll try to whittle down what we want to include on the bond, have that discussion. I think that's probably the most important discussion on Wednesday.
Because that'll give us a little time then before a board meeting to be able to feel it out a little bit.
And that kitchen freezer, if I remember right, we could spend, any profits from the kitchen, we could spend on
Yeah.
equipment.
And there's stuff the stuff on the pool would not
Right,
be included,
yes, I
that's
understand that,
pool
yeah.
levy.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of went through that, but the kitchen, I didn't see anything there, and I just wanted to,
Yeah, I didn't, my notes
Yeah.
aren't completed.
and that's okay, I just wanted to, it seemed like I remembered that, so.
The kitchen's in pretty good shape with the exception for the old refrigeration.
Right.
And I think we talked about, it's not necessarily replacing them, but just maybe adding one for more space type of thing.
Anything else? Going once, going twice. We'll see you Wednesday.
Mhm.